Thanks to everybody.
Hopefully, yes, is ESSI on today? Did we get ESSI on? Is she on the Zoom?
I'm here.
All right, okay.
Hi, everyone.
I'm going to go ahead and introduce you, ESSI, if you don't mind, first. Okay, I just want to make sure you were here. It's glad to see you. You're prettier on Zoom than you are on your photo magazine. So just ESSI is our event. She's a local change agent and dedicated to the community. She's an impact leader. She's passionate about making positive, lasting differences in the communities professionally. She is a petrochemist at Apache Corporation, where she served on a steering committee of the Apache Women's, investing in a form of investment that generates measurable positive social and or environmental impact in communities. She's a member of Westview University, Westview Rotary Club, where she chairs as the club's biggest fundraising program and lead singer, praise team member at the Second Baptist West Campus Choir. ESSI is also a supporter of several other causes and organizations such as St. Jude's Children's Hospital, Habitat for Humanity, the Women's Resources of Greater Houston, and United Against Human Trafficking. She is a wife, a mother of two beautiful girls. I welcome ESSI. ESSI, could you please give us your program, ma'am?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. And sorry about the confusion. I totally got a lot of miscommunication. So I didn't realize that I thought I was going to make a presentation to Michael. So not the entire club. So forgive me for not being as prepared as I would have normally been. But so I was told that you guys wanted to hear a little bit about human trafficking and human trafficking awareness and the event that is coming up this coming January. So January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So every January, we try to put together an event to help raise awareness for human trafficking. But first of all, what is human trafficking? I noticed that many people tend to think that human trafficking is a border-related issue, maybe an immigrant issue, maybe a lot of people confuse it with smuggling. So human trafficking is definitely not smuggling. Smuggling is known to be a crime against the border, where you're bringing people in that are not supposed to be, that are crossing the border illegally. And human trafficking is a crime against human being, against humans. So human trafficking is actually a modern day slavery. That's its proper definition. Human trafficking is just a fancy name for slavery, really. So human trafficking is when somebody is held against their will, is when they are being overworked, they are being sold for sex, for commercial sex, or they are being utilized for extensive labor and not getting paid accordingly. So that is the ground definition of human trafficking. And believe it or not, Houston is number one, or at least in the top three in terms of human trafficking in the United States. And it's a very big problem here. And we as Rotarians, and especially those of us in our district, since we're here in Houston, it is a very big opportunity for us to make a difference and to raise awareness for this issue here in our city. So our human trafficking task force chair is Samantha Holson-Beck, and I believe she was the one that was originally scheduled for today, but she couldn't make it because she's out with her husband with uh, for an adventure. So she couldn't make it today, so I'm covering for her. But she is a contact person when it comes to anything related to human trafficking awareness events, or events that you want to schedule to help support survivors of human trafficking, for example. She will be the go-to person. We established so for the last couple of years, Samantha and I have been co-chairing an event to help raise awareness for human trafficking in Houston. The event has my acronym ESSI, Empower, Stand, Serve, Impact. And what we've been doing is putting together a fundraiser to help support a local organization financially, and also to help raise awareness of human trafficking for anyone who obviously attends the event. So the first year, the event benefited United Against Human Trafficking. This year, January 2020, it benefited Real Beauty, Real Woman. All these are organizations that fight human trafficking in Houston. And for next year, 2021, in lieu of a human trafficking awareness gala, we are partnering with Childproof America, which is a local organization here in Houston, and they're putting together a summit, and it is an educational summit. It's national, so people are coming from other places to Houston. They have we have, let me say we, because I'm saying we because Samantha and I co-chairing the events as well. And the founder, Kelly, she is obviously the head of the events. And so we are having speakers, mostly survivors, come speak, nationally acclaimed survivors and advocates that are coming to speak and educate people on human trafficking awareness and how to look out for it, how to prevent it from happening to your kids. A lot of the times, trafficking victims are targeted on social media, believe it or not, social media or gaming apps, right? So it's very easy for traffickers to access our kids. The target age for trafficking is about 12 to 14. Those are the ages that the traffickers actually look for. And so it's very, very young kids, and we have to be sure we protect them. And we have people who have been abducted from their schools. Childproof America, the daughter, Kelly's daughter, Courtney, was trafficked right out of school, and it's a nice neighborhood. It's Cinco Ranch in Katy. Sometimes we think such things don't happen in nice neighborhoods, but that's a good example to show that it does happen everywhere. It happens in suburbs. It happens everywhere. The Woodland, Katy, anywhere that you can think of, it happens. So human trafficking is a big problem in Houston. One of the most staggering statistics that we hear about for human trafficking in Houston is that there are 8 times more brothels in Houston than there are Starbucks. So a brothel is somewhere where people are being exploited for sex. So as you can imagine, if you pass by one Starbucks, you probably pass by 8 brothels. So, and they're everywhere. They're close to our schools. They're close to our churches. And that's just on the sex side. I mean, in terms of labor trafficking can happen anywhere from somebody who is coming to clean your home. Maid servants, for example, you might not know, but they may be trafficked. Somebody who cleans at the back of a restaurant, they may be trafficked. Somebody who is in the nail salon, someone who is in construction sites, it can be anywhere. As a matter of fact, the highest labor trafficking happens in agriculture. So some of the main products that see human trafficking is banana, and these are things that we buy all the time: banana, coffee, tea, chocolates, and there's a fifth one that I can't think of right now. But as you can see, it can happen anywhere. It can happen to anyone, because really people don't necessarily look at your social, economic class. They don't necessarily look at your race. They don't look at anything. As long as you're vulnerable online, or even in person, you are a target. So it can be any of our loved ones can be targeted. Courtney, who is now actually an ambassador for the Trump administration against Trump administration against human trafficking, she's Caucasian. So they're Caucasian. She got trafficked, like I said, from her school, KDISD, and it really can happen to anyone. So it is very, very important that we as Rotarians make a difference, I believe. And so this event that I'm talking about that they're putting together is coming up January 23rd. It's a Saturday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. That is the main educational portion of the event. And there you will hear all the speakers that I mentioned, the impactful speakers. Right now we have five confirmed, and 2 more spots to go. So all these people, as it looks like somebody is sharing their screen by mistake. So all these speakers are going to share their experience, how they got into being victimized. A couple of the speakers are going to be on the other side. So one is a buyer, and we're looking to have somebody who was actually a pimp, so somebody who was actually a trafficker. So we'll get to hear from different versions, and even for the survivors, we'll get to hear people who were trafficked from different places. So maybe one from social media, the other from school, the other from church, so things like that. So we would, yes, definitely we'll have the flyers are in the works. We are having the flyers made right now for the event. The night before that Saturday event there's going to be a dinner, a VIP dinner, and that dinner is meant for sponsors. So the sponsors would get to meet with all the speakers. They'll get to enjoy a black tie, a dinner event at the Post Oak Hotel. You may know that it's close to the Galleria. And I forgot to mention the summit itself is going to happen at the Smart Financial Center. It's a huge convention center. It holds up to 6,200 people. So we want to spread the word as much as possible. This is a very big event, and we want to be able to make a difference on a large scale. So we are making the flyers. We're putting together the sponsorship packages as well. We have several levels. The highest level is 100,000, and then for 50,000, 25,000, 10,000, and 5,000. So those come with different packages and different perks that you get to benefit from for being a sponsor. But that dinner is going to be the VIP exclusive event for the sponsors to get to meet with the speakers, and also potentially with some very special guests that we're not ready to disclose quite yet. So that is a little bit about the event and a little bit about human trafficking. Again, like I said, I'm going to once we have the flyer and everything together, I would be sure to send it out to Scott or Michael, so that you guys can pass it around. So if you have specific questions, I would be happy to answer them at this time.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I know that human trafficking is very dangerous. What are some of the ways that people are rescued from human trafficking?
Yeah, so we have and I don't consider myself obviously an expert in this field. I support the cause and I help organizations that support the cause. But so we have a call line where you can report human trafficking. So if you suspect something, like say you see your neighbor, several cars coming through all the time, you know, and it just looks suspicious, then you would call that line, and they can do some investigation. The police department can do investigation and then bust them. So you might have seen some busts going around. Sometimes on TV, you see that they have, you know, arrested a few people. So that's how it typically starts, with reporting anything that's suspicious and going from there.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Daryl.
So how is it handled when the person is from, let's say, another country and they're rescued? Do they deport them? What do they do?
Yeah, so that I don't know for sure. I would say that they would probably find them some rehabilitation center first, because these people are going through a lot in terms of the trauma, in terms of trauma. So I would guess that they would at least find them some help before trying to send them back to where they belong or what country they come from. But like I said, it's not necessarily an international issue. You'd be surprised, the majority of people who are being trafficked are US citizens. So from a study that was done, most of the people that get trafficked are from Houston. So it's not necessarily an international. I mean, there is definitely an international component, but let's not think that it's a problem. It's an international problem necessarily, because if traffickers are looking on connecting with somebody over the phone, on social media, or on a gaming app, they're not necessarily looking outside of the States. So I know it doesn't quite answer your question, but that's what I think.
Essie, this is Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, good to see you. I just want to thank you and Samantha for all the work that your committee has done to bring this to light in our community for Rotarians in Houston, because it is a huge problem. And you point out just awareness, you know, nail salon, restaurant, watching for unusual situations. So just bringing awareness, anybody can participate at that level. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, you're welcome. My pleasure. And that's the purpose, is to raise awareness of this issue so that we can help stop it. And some of the little things that we can do other than reporting suspicious activities is also doing our part in not watching, for example, pornographic material, because a lot of these people are being trafficked. A lot of the ladies are being trafficked, or trying to patronize companies that have products that are not that are free of trafficking. So for example, the bananas and things that I mentioned, there are some stores that carry stickers on those bananas that say I forgot the name. It has a sticker that shows that the banana was grown without human trafficking. So that can be some of the things that we can do as well. And even our clothing, you know, sometimes if it's really, really cheap products, chances are it was produced using labor that was trafficked, maybe in other countries. So, I mean, those are some of the other things that we can do other than, you know, watching out and reporting suspicious activities. So yes. Thanks, Susie.
You bet. Thank you. Good to see you.
Joe Matthews here with a question. Is there active engagement of like the restaurant chains and things like that where, you know, it's very ripe for trafficking, as you said, in the back, the cleanup and the lower level jobs? Who does that?
So it has to come from the individual business owners. I mean, they have to be aware of that. There are business owners, for example, who would put signs on their doors, on their like stalls in the bathroom for somebody who's coming, who is from outside, for example, who is a trafficking victim, and they come to the stall. They can see, you know, a number to call or something to help raise awareness. But that is an example of a restaurant or a company that is trying to help improve that. And obviously they have to make sure that their own employees are not being trafficked, and also making sure that their supply chain, how they're getting all their products, is not coming from a line that has been you know, where there's human trafficking. So it has to be individual awareness in terms of the business owners, and also on a major scale. For example, hotels have been coming together to help raise awareness, because hotels can be very notorious for that as well, because some of these people that are being picked up for trafficking, they are going to the hotels to get exploited. So hotels have been very aware of that. They're coming together, they are training their employees to spot such activities and report it. And so really it's going to be, if it's not an organization like how the Rotary coming together, or chains of hotels coming together, or restaurant owners coming together, it has to be on an individual level. So that's what I would say. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
So this is Terry Crawford, and I work at San Jacinto College, and I would like to let you know that there are videos that have been made available to the college for training. So for example, when a student goes through our truck driving program, part of the curriculum is to see a video about how to spot and how to recognize human trafficking. And then, as you had mentioned, that phone number to call. In addition, in all of our health sciences programs, because it seems that at some point in time, these people who have been trafficked are in need of medical attention. So I know that there are organizations that put together those videos and make them available, and we incorporate them then in our curriculum as they're made available to us. So if you have those kind of videos, we would love to incorporate that into our programming, so that as people are in the medical field, or if they're in truck driving and stopping at truck stops and that sort of thing, and they witness something, they can know what to do. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. And yes, we can share some of those resources. And I wanted to elaborate a little bit about what you said on medical people. A lot of the times, because these survivors or victims in that scenario are exposed to a lot of abuse, the medical staff tends to be the first to know, because these people might come you know, maybe for an abortion, or maybe for just physical restoration, some type of medical need. So the healthcare section is also very, very big in terms of educating people on how to recognize human trafficking. And because these victims are a lot of the times very scared, they don't want to talk, the healthcare professionals are trained to build that trust and help people actually talk, because many times the victims are, you know, the trafficker may be right next to them or somewhere, and they can't talk. But when you have that time with the victim, you have that opportunity to get some information out of them and hopefully save their lives. So the healthcare department is also big in that.
Hey guys, I'd like to just add something to make sure everybody understands. So ESSI is a member of the Westview Club. She's also our district community service chair. And I will say she gave a fabulous training on Saturday. I know Badella attended her training. So within the district, under community service, we have a specific group that are a committee that's looking at human trafficking. And that's what Samantha is the chairman of. And she kind of, so to speak, reports to ESSI in that way. But what we would hope to do is to engage more Rotarians in our district in this cause, to look at, what is it we can do? How can we help fight human trafficking? And the district wants to become bigger at that. We want to become more involved. We've had a human trafficking committee per se for some time, but we need to figure out how to do it better. So if any of you would like to be involved in that committee on a district level, please be sure and reach out to ESSI, or let me know too if you can't find her contact, and she can get you in touch with that committee. A lot of people ask, well, what's Rotary going to do next after polio? I don't know, but these types of issues, Susie, and you might have some information on this too. These types of issues, I think in the peace and conflict resolution space, those are things probably that are going to have an opportunity to have high interest. So, if we see something and we can start some initiative here within our district, I think that would be fabulous. And ESSI has got a great deal. Carrie Lickback, the Child-Proof America lady, she's a dynamo. I mean, she is a go-getter. She's the mother of this victim who was recovered and has done an incredible job. I've talked to her on many occasions. So keep that in mind. Susie, do you have any insight to that from Rotary International and the look at human trafficking?
Thank you for asking, Scott. Yes, on June 18th, President of Rotary International, Mark Maloney, and I will be chartering the first new human trafficking Rotary Club. It's an e-club, and the purpose is to serve as a resource for many different clubs, and there are people from many different organizations in this club. So I invite you to join that Zoom, and I'll provide more information later, but thank you for asking.
Hey, Scott, I have a question.
Yes.
In your video, you talked about the first meeting of each month, we would focus on bring a visitor.
Yes.
I think this would be a really good program that almost every Rotarian could find people if we have this great topic and help build our own community awareness for that bring a visitor meeting, and to have a training or someone come and speak to this, because I know I could find people that would want to come and hear about this topic as a visitor.
I agree. That's exactly what we need to be doing as Rotary clubs. Programs should be interesting, but the more relevant we can make them, and that they would interest people to come to the club and become involved, and give them something that they can then in turn be a boots on the ground person to help with this stuff that's right in our backyard. I think that's a big point you made, Essie, is, certainly it happens around the world, but this is a problem in Clear Lake, Texas. It's right here. And that's a big point. I like your thought, Deborah.
So Scott, there is also here in the Clear Lake area, Carrie Taylor. She is very involved in an organization called Unbound Houston. And I think she would be a good resource, and a lot of the training that the college has become made aware of has come from Unbound Houston. So she might also be a really good person to connect ESSI with, just so that we're all kind of talking to each other, moving forward together is just an idea.
Sure, that's great. I think, my sense on the human trafficking issue, it's massive. And you can't attack human trafficking. It's too big. You got to find some part of it, I think, that you think you can bite off, and then focus on that and work through that. That's just kind of my sense of it. Essie, what's your observations on kind of strategies to attack it?
Yeah, so like you said, human trafficking is huge. I mean, it is the second biggest illegal activity after narcotics. It brings in over $150 billion every single year. And there are over 40 million people estimated to be enslaved at this time. And it's said that there are more slaves today than there were prior to the abolition. So it is a huge, huge problem. And the more that people can come together to help resolve it, the better. I mean, I don't know how it's going to go away. As much as I hate to admit it, I really don't know how it would go away. But what I know is that the more people know about it, the more we can prevent it from happening to us. And if supply is reduced, then demand is gonna reduce. It's just like any other business, right? So for me, I feel like we have to attack it with the demand, the supply. So reducing the supply, and hopefully by doing so, getting rid of it. A lot of people are attacking it from other perspective. For example, there's an organization that works with men that are addicted to porn. So that's another good way of helping reduce the demand. There are organizations that help change legislations so that the people who are actually being the traffickers or even the buyers are getting punished. And you see them on TV, you see them on social media, just because they want to increase their awareness that if you do this, you're gonna get punished. Because right now, there's not a strong repercussion for doing stuff like this. So that's another way of attacking it. It's on the legislation side. So there are different ways of attacking this thing. And then there are some people who are focused on rehabilitating the survivors, which is also awesome because these people have been through a lot of trauma. But that, for me, I don't see that as solving the problem. It doesn't really solve the problem. It just, we're just taking care of the problem after the fact. So for me, the big one is just trying to figure out how to reduce supply, and by educating people and by preventing their family members to become the next victim. So that would be my take on it.
I would like to add that my friend Darlene Prescott, an attorney, has done pro bono work representing victims who have been, and we now have some new legislation so that the victims from out of the country are not charged with the crime of being in this country illegally, and women are not charged with the crime of prostitution. So we've made some progress legislatively. And my friend Darlene Prescott has represented some of those victims on a pro bono basis. I just wanted to add that in answer to Steve Owen's question about the international trafficking.
Thank you for adding that, because that's an issue too. People who are being prostituted because they are being prostituted, they don't just choose to be prostitutes, are actually trafficked. So it's good that they're changing the legislation such that these people are not being double punished for a crime that they are being forced to do. So that's a very good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Any other questions? I guess not.
Steve, you have a quick question. Tell me about the January 23rd. Do we have an idea of how much the tickets are?
No, we haven't set a date, a price for the tickets yet, but we have set the sponsorship levels. So those are the ones that I mentioned earlier, 100,000, 50,000, 25,000, 10,000, and 5,000. So, well, obviously the 100,000 is going to be like the title sponsor is going to be the one, you know, featured in the name and everything. So maybe it's something that your club would consider.
I'd like to see the Medela Williams $100,000 dinner. I think that's a good one. Hey, but Medela, on that point,
has Stan Galansky from our club been working with you?
Yeah, Stan's in. He knows it. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yes.
And I would say I forwarded the announcement about the VIP and also the Childproof America website to Michelle in our club, and she's going to get that on our website. And so you guys will be able to see some of this information that she's talking about. Michelle will have that posted.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I did put it on the district calendar as well for that day.
Okay. Essie, this is Mike Porterfield. I want to thank you for coming on at short notice. Samantha and I have been friends for a couple of years now, and I met her through Instagram, and we started talking about what each of us do, and found out she was a Rotarian, and her passion was human trafficking. And I knew that one of our members in our club wanted to really support the human trafficking, and so we hooked Stan Galansky up with her, and she invited us to be a sponsor. In fact, we sponsored some of your things at your last sponsorship.
Yes,
and
thanks
then,
for coming.
we were trying to figure out at the beginning of the year when I could have Samantha come on and do it, but we were filled up. And so it's just very, very luckily that, you know, it happened the way it did, that I called her on Friday, and she was going to the beach with her kids and family and couldn't do it. And she mentioned you, and I was so happy, and you'd agreed to do it. So, you know, this has turned out to be one of our best programs we've had this year on Zoom. So I just want to thank you so much.
Yeah.
And keep our club in mind. We'd like to maybe support you. And so again, thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. We appreciate everything that you're doing for human trafficking and for the district and Rotary.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and sorry about the miscommunication.
That's okay.
And everything.
I would, as long as our club is, you know, one of the things that I found is a lot of people have an image on human trafficking, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it.
Yes.
Or they don't want to represent it.
Yes.
Or they want to get away from it because it's just something. Yeah. And so, but what you guys, when you hear someone like you, and you hear really what it's all about, it's something that's kind of like mental illness. People don't want to talk about it, but it's a big problem.
It is.
And the more we're aware in the communities and all over, like you were talking about, the more you're aware, the more you'll catch it. And raising the young kids start at that young age, and then bring them up to be very, very aware of really how it's happening. So again, my hat's off to you and your group. And I look forward to maybe getting our club more involved. But, you know, just by you giving us the information today is really going to make a big impact in our Clear Lake area with the members in our club. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So can I just add a couple things real quick? So I know that we tend to say human trafficking, so I just wanted to correct that. It's human trafficking awareness. So we're supporting human trafficking awareness or human trafficking prevention. So let's just add, remember to add that little word at the end, because we're not supporting human trafficking itself. And then secondly, typically we call them victims, but if they've survived, we want to call them survivors, because they're no longer victims. If they're still in the middle of being trafficked, then yes, we call them victims. But if they've come out of it, then we try to call them survivors, because they have overcome the struggles. So I put the number for the trafficking hotline on there, as well as my email, in case you guys want to reach out or anything. I put it, maybe I can add Samantha's email there as well. But thank you guys for having me, and thanks for listening. Thanks for being engaged and asking questions and showing interest and acting upon this information afterwards. So thank you very much for having me, everyone.
I can tell you both she and Samantha's contact information is on the district website on the organizational chart. If you kind of forget what it was or who it was, you can go there and you actually see their picture and their name, and you'll be able to match back up to them.
Samantha, no, ESSI, do y'all send out like the invitations to Rotarian about your gala and your event coming up in January? Is that through the district, or is that how do we send that out to the people in the Rotary? Is that done through the district level?
Yes, I can. I know Rebecca doesn't necessarily send out every single event that's going on in the district to the entire district, because then it starts to clog the emails. But I will ask to have this one go through. If it doesn't go through, what I'll do is I'll send it out to the presidents and the community service leaders in each club, and then you can go ahead and forward it to your club members that way.
Okay. And is there quite a bit of clubs like, I know West U, you're a member, but like other clubs that use you as one of their beneficiaries of who they support? And, you know, if we have like a fundraising and we support human trafficking, is that being readily done right now through Rotary? Or is it like we were talking about trying to start a bigger human trafficking, what did you call it, initiative, ordinance for that to happen? So how's that happening, district-wide or locally clubs?
Right now, I'm not actually sure what. I think the clubs have been just donating to any organization individually, personally. The one that we put together to involve more clubs is the one that I mentioned earlier, the ESSI Gala, and we have several clubs donating, and then we give it to one organization. So at this moment, if a club is interested in human trafficking awareness, they are probably just doing it on their own, which is just donating to the club directly. Or with this event, this will give them the chance to donate to Childproof America for this education, for this particular event.
So do you see the district as, you know, we get bigger in the district with the human trafficking initiative, or, you know, will the money that we raise as a district or district level or even an international level, would that be sent to ESSI? How would that work? How would that work as far as who gets the proceeds, and how do y'all interrelate? Because you're a Rotarian and, you know, so forth.
Yeah, so it has, I don't have a bank account for ESSI. It always goes to the organization that's benefiting. So it goes to them directly. So with Childproof America, it will go to them directly. With we don't have a bank account for the district neither. So it's not like we can, I mean, maybe Scott, you can chip in there, but it's not like there's a pool, there's like an account where all the clubs can pool their money into one district account and then send it out. But what it is we just, whomever the beneficiary is, they get the funds directly, because then they can give receipts and, you know, for tax purposes and things like that.
Well, that could be a good grant that Rotary comes up with, you know, the district grant where you donate X amount of dollars and you get X amount of dollars refunded back, and you can keep that perpetual. I mean, I just see this as a program kind of like polio, or, you know, things that we do, or we have a Leader in Me program that we donate grant to so much money, and then we get reimbursed by the district up to $4,000, you know, based on previous history. So, I mean, I'm just wondering how in the world, and I know that Scott and that group are going to work it all out, but if we wanted to list you as one of our sponsors our shrimpery or any type of thing we have, then, you know, where does that, we could donate that money, the proceeds would go somewhere, right? And they would go to ESSI right now?
No, so that's what I was saying, that ESSI doesn't have a bank account. We don't, it's just a name. It's, yeah. So it will go to whomever the benefiting organization is. So it will go to Child Proof America.
Child Proof America, okay.
Yes, it will go to Child Proof America. And I mean, obviously, yeah, if you want to list ESSI as one of the, like the sponsors or whatnot, I can send the logo or send the information that you need, but the funds will go to whomever the organization, the benefiting organization is, which in this case will be Child Proof America.
Okay, all right, well, that answers it. So thank you again, Essie, for your giving us this very important program.
Awesome.
That we can keep in mind.
Thank you, everyone.
We're going to give you, typically at the end of our Rotary, when we have Rotary meetings, we, instead of giving a token or a ribbon or something to our speakers, we give them a book to sign, and that book is put into the Whitcomb Elementary School library.
Oh,
so when we get back in our, you know, in our club and everything, we'll get back to organization. We sending you a book, and we would hope that you could sign it and give it back to us, and as a, you know, to thank you so much for what you've done.
That'll be awesome. Thank you very much.
Is there any questions, anything else anyone has to offer before we end the meeting? I just want to announce that tomorrow is our board of directors meeting at 7:30 Zoom.
Yeah, Mike, got a point. The question really for Scott and for Susie, are these type programs and beneficiaries the target of international and district-wide Rotary? And can there be a more collaborative, I guess, larger scale approach to this versus individual club check, which would be good, but you can magnify that by 1,000 times.
Thank you, Walt. Good question. I am really looking forward to this Rotary Club for human trafficking awareness and what programs they have. Rotary International itself doesn't have a program, but I think this one club could easily answer some of the questions that you have.
Thank you, Susie.
And Walt, from a district standpoint, the district doesn't actually do something like this. What the district does is promote collaboration. And so that's where through ESSI and through that committee, we will promote people becoming involved in it. And I would suggest to you also, I think we'll have something significant, I hope, even at our district conference next year that would address it. But
good, thanks, Scott. I'm thinking about the medical bridges and the district-wide appreciation for that Bahamian hurricane that went through. And just on a different level, but that's the kind of idea. So that's what you're saying that's done, right? Gotcha, thanks.
Okay. Scott, can you please ring the bell to end the meeting? Or Walt, whichever.
I can do it. Adios, guys.
Adios.
Adios, amigos.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.